You notice it, the limiting friction, that is what maximum friction is equals to. So mu n is must be greater than or is equals to mg. So we all knows that that is equals to what? N is equals to, we found it. N is equals to centripetal force, which is equals to, what is the formula? mv square divided by r. So we all know maximum friction. When the maximum friction, if it will be greater than maximum friction, if you have noticed it, that is only we is to consider as a what? We is to consider as a
limiting
friction, which will represent with the mu n. So mu n is equals to mv square by r, which must be greater than or is equals to mg. Now both the sides mm will get cancelled. So mu v square divided by r, which is greater than or is equals to g. So from that I'll find v square is greater than or is equals to g into r divided by mu. So from that v is equals to v greater than or is equals to g into root over g
root over
r
into r by mu.
divided by mu. Okay, that is what. Now you remember, v is having two things, maximum and as well as minimum. It should not be less than that. So when will v become minimum? See that v will become minimum when velocity is equals to g into r into divided by mu. So when v minimum, this is the thing. Minimum is this one. Maximum, if you have taken v maximum, if you have taken, so it is greater than more if it is maximum, only it is, you can see, equals to, less than or equals to, they are saying. So by the time frictional force, you can see maximum friction, then only the body can able to move constantly and continuously and more faster. If anywhere the frictional force between the surface and this one is reduces, if he can maintain the minimum friction, minimum which is equals to this much, then he can move. But if you want to do the stunts and all, you can see, then it has to be maintained. Always remember, velocity, if he wants to revolve around that, if it must be greater than or equals to, it must be equals to what? Root over g into r divided by mu. So that is what is the death well when we are calculating the centripetal, by applying the centripetal force, how the persons are able to make, if they are maintaining the velocities like that related to their, like the tires and as well as the frictional force which is present, always they'll maintain the maximum friction between the surface and that one, then only it is possible to revolve. Otherwise these persons will fall into the well, and they will even, many death cases are there in this, that is why it is called as death well. Very, very dangerous one. If a stuntman is any kind of carelessness or negligence, of course he don't know about anything physics, but they know all the things which is present to each corner of this one. So this, all the formulas they maybe don't know, but they knows what speed they should maintain and what is kind of brake should be there for this, and how to accelerate, when to do the stunts and all. You can we can observe them, even you can notice it here. Have you noticed that once the velocity will reaches to the some certain constant, by the time they will remove the hands and all, and they will do the stunts, and they knows if the velocity goes to down, again they will rise it, you can see, because if they are not controlling it, automatically they will fall into that. So that is much trained, they will train that much. In the cars also they will take that. That is the entire physics concept. They are maintaining the maximum friction. That is what limiting friction between the surface and this bike tires. That is why they are able to rotate very easily. That is a velocity. Their velocity should be greater than or is equals to root over gr by mu. Means always you keep it in mind when the body is able to move. So F must be greater than or is equals to weight. If it is less than that, they will definitely will fall into that. That is what, either it must be equal or must be greater than the weight. That is what you have to remember. That is how cars, whatever it is, the cars or the bikes or whatever, they'll be having, even, have you noticed that there is no bike with a large equipment? It's a very simplified bike, modified bike. So everything will be matters. The weight of a person, weight of a bike, everything will be calculated, and then only it is ready to move surrounding on it. You can notice it. Imagine now, apply a person, suppose this is the person you have taken. So then you apply the physics here. So how to calculate it? So what will take one force, which is always the force which is acting towards to that is what we'll say centripetal force. That must be what? That is only we are considering as a normal one. And the force which is acting downwards, that is what like this. The downwards means towards to that is what weight of the person, and which is making the tires to fall in. That is what we used to call as what? We used to call as friction. Okay, so frictional force, and this person will goes and will keep on revolving, so that the velocity of the person is v here, always moving. So resultant one. So this is the force acting towards the normal, that is what center. That is only we used to consider centripetal force, and velocity of the person is v, frictional force is f, small f, and weight of the person is w, which is acting downward direction. So if a person wants to ride a bike in this death well, his velocity must be greater than or equals to what? It must be greater than or equals to what? Root over g into r divided by mu. That is what you have to remember. So this is how we need to derive the formulas for both conical pendulum and as well as death wool. Now next we are going to study the most important one is, till now we are studying the direct formulas. Then how these formulas are derived. For example, centripetal acceleration. What is the formula you have written? All of you. Centripetal acceleration formula. Check it and tell me. What is the formula you have written? Centripetal acceleration formula there.
V square by R.
Yes. V square by R. Yeah. So V square by R. R we can say what? R omega square. Next, centripetal force. Centripetal force, what is the formula we have written? Centripetal force is equals to, everyone?
mv square.
Yes, mv square by r, or we will say mr omega square. Correct or not? So how to derive this one? How this formula comes? That one is actually a derivation. Even for our exams also they will ask you that. So that is why these derivations we will study. So if you study these derivations, then this chapter is completed. That is the only one and only derivation is remained, derivation of centripetal acceleration. Then next chapter you keep it in mind along with the centripetal acceleration. Now centripetal force we have. Next we will get now we are studying centripetal force. Later we will get centrifugal force. That is only we used to call as pseudo force. Next chapter it will come. So that is even very, very typical. Unless you understand this, that is very, very difficult to understand. So I hope you all understand this chapter very clearly. So take your time and finish it. Then tomorrow I'll teach you derivations of centripetal acceleration. So once we study the derivations of centripetal acceleration, we have actually two methods. The two methods if we learn, actually that derivation is very important for competitive exams and as well as your school exams also. So that we will study in our tomorrow's class. And then now your duty is, now you have surplus time. Now immediately after this class, you start reading the NCERT, take NCERT and start proceeding line by line. Every diagram, try to understand and analyze the diagram and solve every example. 100% you will do. I am very confident 100% you will do very well. Easily now I think most of you are able to understand how to read 11th and 12th. Yes or no? How to proceed 10th? Sorry, 11th. It's not like a 10th class. You should understand, you are involved in the class, involved in the subject and you have to read it. Nothing there to by heart it. Imagination is more, particularly in physics, and you have to analyze the concept and you have to read it. Okay. So whatever we studied today, go through once again and start the NCERT. I hope you all are having NCERT. I have sent you or not, Mr. Udreswar, not Sarah. I have shared the NCERT. I think you all purchased the books. Am I correct? Yeah, let's start reading it. Okay. So thank you. Then we'll start definitely this weekend. We have school, Sunday also school. That is a problem. Definitely this weekend or Monday, definitely we'll start next chapter, 4th chapter. We'll try to end it at least volume 1 by June or July. That's what is the target. July. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Please sit and read and start reading now NCERT immediately. Read till 10 o'clock. Nothing will happen. Everyone should start. Everybody.